Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 9 of the single-player Let's Play for Enigmatica 6. So I've done a little bit of work off-stream, off-camera, but I really don't think that any of it's all that interesting or important. So first things first, just taking a look here. I have torn down our mega smelting system that was kind of being faulty after we upgraded our power going in and caused a huge increase in the ingoing speed. Yeah, by doing that, that broke the speed at which the conveyors were going, making it too fast and making it really a big pain in the butt to slow down enough. So I said, forget it, we've got the electric smelter. So I've decided to put a properly fitted mechanical press here instead. So let me know what you think. I think it turned out pretty okay. I kind of feel like it needs some bracings from like the side or something, but I think this turned out approximately okay. I am actually pretty bothered by the fact that it's floating, but that's all right. Other than that, I've just been sitting around waiting for sugarcane to grow, kind of harvesting what I can as I go. It's very satisfying to run through here and grab as much as you possibly can. It seems like we get a little over a stack each and every time, which is quite a lot, and it's quite nice. What was it, like about 74, I think is what I got last time, so up to 77 this time. Anyways, so for this episode, I did have a couple of plans. I wanted to finally get into some machinery of some sort because I know we have been kind of procrastinating a little while for getting into any sort of advanced machinery from any of the major mods like thermal expansion or mechanism. Now, I want to say on the last LP, I can't remember, God, that was like, I think the last Let's Play series was started about 3 years ago, if I remember correctly. Maybe even 4 at this point. So when we started the 112 Trapeze Swinger Let's Play, I think I went with Thermal. But this time around, I thought it would be cool to start out with Mechanism, because I don't usually start with Mechanism. And I know I've already done like all the basics of ore processing and stuff over here, so it's not like we're really starting to reinvent the wheel. We literally still have a crushing wheel. But we do get to kind of pick and choose how we want our systems built out, and sort of just have a better idea of how we want to get kind of going. Because there is a mod that I'd like to get into at some point this Let's Play called Compact Machines, which allows you to take all of your machinery, shove it into an extra dimension, and then access it via one block. So yeah. Oh, one other thing I did that I forgot to mention is I made framed compacting drawers and framed them to look like these guys right here. Well, I don't actually have access to any. But the trim, I used the trim texture to frame them, so they look pretty good. And I think overall these have been a little more ideal for my personal aesthetic choice. Getting a little monotonous, monotone choice here in color, but we'll play around with it in the future. Anyways, let's dive into Mechanism. So looking through the quest book, we're going to skip over Industrial Foregoing for now. Let's look into Mechanism and get into, let's see, I don't think we need to get into power generation quite yet. We probably will want to make a gauge dropper at some point, so why don't we go ahead and look into that maybe. These are pretty cheap if I remember correctly. Yeah, they're very straightforward. These allow you to drain the remaining fluids out of a... Oh. Fungi? I'm confused. Oh, like this kind. Okay, interesting. Anyways, that was actually kind of a good tip. But these allow you to drain remaining fluid out of a tank. So if you have less than 1 bucket's worth of fluid in a tank, this is the way that you would get that out. So moving forward, we're going to want to get ourselves a metallurgic infuser. And then from there, we'll want to... They apparently want us to move into the little tier installers, so I'll bookmark this one because the first tier is very cheap and very worthwhile. So the metallurgic infuser is sort of like the means or the method by which you're going to end up crafting a lot of the alloys for this mod. So we're going to craft that up. Go ahead and claim that reward, because sometimes you get some really good rewards for these. Dynamic tanks, those would have been useful last episode. And, of course, this is going to require power, so what I'm going to do is grab this line that I have right here and just push it up one. Like so. And we can put that guy right there. Kind of blends in pretty nicely with all the other machinery around. at least so far. So this is our metallurgic infuser. This is going to allow us to make basic alloys and various machines. However, this basic tier installer is pretty easy to make once we have one of these, and they're lifesavers, honestly. The basic tier installers will allow us to move forward in Mechanism way faster. So this machine is going to take some input. This is usually redstone dust. Combine that with some sort of ingot or item in the middle and infuse the two. So you can see these vary from biomass to diamonds all the way to carbon, fungi, etc. So this is going to get us a basic control circuit. We're going to need two of these. And we're going to use them to make a basic tier installer. And this basic tier installer will upgrade our little machine right here from one slot, 1-to-1, to 3 slots. So now we can basically parallelize the recipes that we put into this thing, and that will make it so much easier to get going. And with that, I got an elite tier installer. See, this is what happens sometimes. You'll just end up getting these installers that are way higher tier than you would ever expect. I don't think I can apply this right away. Yeah, I have to actually step up to it, because the tier that is below this, yep, is the advanced tier. Now, this guy isn't too terrible to get, so maybe we should try to go for it. We're going to need redstone, osmium, mechanism tier installer. There we go. So now, we can go straight to an elite infusing factory, which has 7 slots instead of 5, or 3, or 1, respectively. We're already off to actually a really great start. I'm very impressed. So now looking at the quest, next up they want me to make an enrichment chamber. That's a pretty good call. I can't necessarily disagree with that by any means, so why don't we look into that? So we're going to make just the base enriching factory. Did I say factory? No, I just want the normal chamber. So this guy is going to require steel casing, which we already have. And then we're going to need some more redstone. And some more osmium. And that will get us our enrichment chamber. Now, again, this guy is going to require power. Maybe we should start looking at moving our machinery over here. So, let's see, add power cable. Let's take these guys, just like so, and then we can put down our enrichment chamber. I would like to go ahead and grab that. Got us some basic mechanical pipes. We also have some basic universal cable. These guys we'll get into later, but essentially they're the same as these cables from Powa, except they do have a higher buffer, so this is 1.4, and this is 3.2. However, you can upgrade these to exceed that pretty quickly. Same with these, though. You can upgrade these pretty easily. So it just depends on which route we decide to take as we go. I'm not really too set on one path or another as of yet, so, you know, gives us a lot of availability and opportunity to choose which way we want to go. Now, last quest that I think I'm going to take a look at. There's the digital miner, the electrolytic separator, the crusher, and the sawmill. I think the crusher is probably going to be the way to go. The crusher is pretty useful. So let's go ahead and grab that. Now, I think I have a tank of lava still. I know I have buckets somewhere. We've got this guy. It's going to want a steel casing. Pretty straightforward. Good thing we've got all that steel production going. We're going to go for this recipe. Oh, actually, yeah, we did get enriched redstone. Let's grab osmium. And that gets us a crusher, and we're going to put that over here. I got us 2 elite tier installers, so that's super nice. I think I'll wait to put those on until later, but definitely going to use those at some point. No doubt about it. So then, oh, I should eat, I just realized. So then, we've got a crusher. The crusher is used to not duplicate. That's actually the enrichment chamber if you want to process your ores. But the crusher is used to crush various things into dust or fuels or particles of that version. Sometimes it's just a degraded version. So overall, it's kind of not exactly what you would expect, but it is, in fact, there. And I think we may want to finally upgrade our electrical furnace. This guy's pretty simple. It's not dumb at all by any means, but it is very simple. Now we have 2 elite. Let's see. Is an Andrea smelter a quest? This is a question. No, it is not. I find that interesting. I mean, there are like a dozen ways to do it. But yeah, overall, there are a couple of things in this pack. Like I was saying, if we look at, uh, what is the word? In fact, machines. We look at the machine walls, you'll see it's enriched obsidian from mechanism combined with an ender pearl block of some sort. Anyways, let's look at getting an energized smelter to replace our old kind of small furnace. So let's do an energized smelter here. This guy, also pretty straightforward. We're going to grab this, and we're going to grab this, and there we go. Energized smelter. So this, in theory, could and may, in fact, replace our ore processing, which I think it definitely can. So why don't we look at a way of getting the ore processing here sorted out? So I'm actually going to pick these guys up because I realize I need to reorder these at least a little bit. So we're going to put the infusing factory here, the enrichment chamber there, and the energized smelter here. And so what we can do, I don't suppose I have any, no, I don't have anything to really smelt here to process. I can do that, but I should probably look at some middle step first, which I'm going to speak about. But essentially, what I think we probably should look at here is getting into some of the upgrades for these machines, because they're very slow, as you've noticed. So if we look at mechanism upgrade, there are these two. These two are kind of the most critical. So if we have 4 machines we want to upgrade, then that's going to be half a stack of gold and half a stack of osmium. Now, can I crush gold in the crushing wheel? I can. Okay. I'm going to do that. It's just much faster. Our crushing wheel really, at the moment, is the fastest thing we have. There we go. And so now what we're going to do is combine these all together to make speed and energy upgrades. The energy upgrades will increase the energy efficiency as well as increase the energy buffer. And the speed upgrades are going to essentially speed up the entire process here for us. We're going to need 2 stacks of these. And so like I was saying, these are going to increase the energy buffer as well as the, the gold dust ones, these energy upgrades. Am I out of glass? No. And then the speed upgrades will obviously upgrade the speed. So I like to go through, there's an interface that you can use to do this with, but it's much easier. Just do this to shift right click them. Now these are at max speed. So if we were to go through and say, smelt some sand into glass, this is the speed. This is very respectable. However, again, remember, we have the Elite Infusing Factory. So let's grab the tier installer for the middle. We have the Elite tier, but we want some of the middle tier, because these Elite tier get kind of annoying to craft with the diamond. But the base tier and the advanced tier are very easy craft. So let's do osmium. Let's grab 6. And redstone, do 12. And just like that, that's done, right? Crazy, huh? And that way we can at least get our crusher over here also upgraded. And then if we were to do the advanced tier, we're going to need, let's grab, if we need 3 of these as well, we're going to need 12, 24. So now we can take these. And we're going to need 6 of these. And then we should be good to make 3 of these. So that's 3, and then these 2. And now we can do some serious smelting. We'll turn auto sort on, and now if I toss this in, ta-da! Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, this is going to take a toll on our energy. You can see it's sucking through it because we're currently not producing a whole heck of a lot with our Magnemator. But that's going to have to be our next plan, is to come up with a way to offset this, because you know, if we're going to be tossing things in there, of course, we're going to refill over time, but it's going to take some time to do that. Like, it's not immediate. We should probably look into making that faster. So, if we look at the Magnemator, there is a follow-up tier. That's the hardened tier. This guy will produce, let's see, 180 forge energy versus 70. So it's almost double. And then the blazing will do 400, which is significantly more. It does consume more lava when it does that much, but it's still, you know, it's pretty significant of an upgrade here. So we might want to look into this, but I'm definitely, let's clear out some of the things we have bookmarked here. I definitely want to go ahead and get into at least the next tier. Now, to do that, we're going to have to do some kind of sneaky stuff using a mod called Powa. We've seen it a little bit so far, but we're going to need to make an energizing orb and some of these energizing rods. Otherwise, we can't actually energize it all. So to start here, let's see, do I have some? Let's make ourselves an energizing orb. And we're going to need some capacitors. Let's start with maybe 6 of these guys. And if we look at power cables again, we're going to have 5 of these. So here are my thoughts. There is, I'm trying to think of sort of the easiest way. Let's take a look at getting more of these real quick. And that should be fun. I'm going to stick this guy over here. I think it's going to be easiest to just keep it kind of silently over here. Now, the way this works is this guy right here doesn't directly receive any power. You don't hook up a cable to it like all these other mystery machines that you just provide a single, you know, block and a single cable and then you're done. Nope, this is sort of a multi-block crafting, sort of akin to the old Buildcraft style of crafting. I don't know if you remember the Buildcraft lasers, if you ever were around for those. But these lasers are pretty cool in the sense that you can put them down like out of sight, out of line of sight as well. So I'm going to put them underground here just so that it's easier to keep everything on the surface nice and clean, because these cables are pretty much one of the few things that these, what are they called? The energizing rods like to connect to. So if we don't connect them to that, then they tend to get a little annoyed. So doing that, we now have a functional energizing setup. Let's see what our quest rewards were for that. Oh, we got 2 more energizing rings. Sick. We should have looked into that. So what we can do is we can just make a circle. Put one there, one there. And if we looked right here, this is where our energizing orb is. Of course, what we could do is have maybe a hopper going into something like a barrel. Just like that. And so now all of our outputs will go into here. And you'll see why in a moment. These guys are kind of a little finicky. They're not bad. I know I've said finicky about a lot of things, but believe me, just this once, they aren't that bad. I just, you know, you get kind of used to automating them, and so when you have to go back to doing them the old way, it's like, oh man, I forgot how not as much fun this was. So these aren't terrible to automate. I'll show you how to do that, because that is very important. But first things first, let's get some, actually, maybe we should go ahead and automate. I realize I keep on saying we'll automate later, but maybe now is the right time to automate. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to need this, we're going to need some hoppers, and we're going to need a comparator. And we're going to need another redstone torch. So here's how it works. We have these lasers here, down here, right? So if I were to, these guys input, essentially they input on any side at all that you choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in the corner, right where it was. And we're going to input here. And we're going to extract into a barrel here. I may not have enough room. We'll have to see. We may need to go 1 block up. I think we do. So we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do hopper. We'll do energizing orb. We'll do that, and then we'll do another, nope, we'll do a barrel. We'll remove the hopper that we didn't mean to put in there. And if we look at grabbing some blocks, maybe some cobblestone, what we're going to want to do is essentially we only want to send in the next craft whenever the first one is done. So to automate this, you can automate this with refined storage, which we will eventually. I'm not going to rush it now. There's no sense. But if you're going to automate this, what you have to do is you have to kickstart it. You have to do the first recipe, and then after you do that first recipe, it'll be automated. And then you'll have to redo it for every recipe you proceed to automate from there. So, essentially what I mean by that is, if we wanted to make, for example, this hardened steel, energized steel, sorry, it's going to be 1 gold or 1 gold and 1 copper or iron. So I'm going to grab those. I'm going to make about half a stack. And so to kickstart this, I'm going to put all but 1 craft in this barrel, right? And then I'm going to do this, put these 2 in here. You see it's getting energized. And whenever the item output goes through the, right, I'm done. Whenever the item output goes through our barrel here is when another craft will be triggered. Now, I did forget something, so I'm going to tear through my wall for just a moment. I did forget that this has to be 1 per ingredient. In other words, if you have up to like 6 or 7 ingredients, it gets a little complicated, but not undoable, just complicated. So I'm going to put that there. And then we're going to put another barrel here. And this will have our gold. And we have to do the comparator recipe, as well as another torch for that one as well. Again, once you kind of get the gist of it, this was not my silk touch? Oh, what a pain. Once you get the gist of it, it's not nearly as bad as it sounds. We'll do that one. Nope. Do that one there. And we'll have our comparator back there. So now if we repeat the same thing I had mentioned earlier, let's keep 1. We do this. This will proceed to do 1 craft. And now it puts in a perfect set of 1 batch of ingredients every time. Because what's happening is as this item runs through the hopper, it's going to pulse exactly enough time for 1 set of items to go through. I don't know really how that exactly works. I guess because hoppers normally deposit 1 at a time, but for some reason this is the way that it seems to work. It could just be tick delays as well between the comparators and the redstone torches. So this is just going to happily craft through all of our stuff. Now, luckily, most of Powa, and I mean, Powa can use data packs for these, so you may find that it changes at some point. Oh, something broke here. So yeah, you'll probably find that there's about 3 recipes that aren't just going to use exactly 1 item, and the rest of them are just going to use 1 item, or like 1 input crafting recipe. What I mean by this is, if we take a look here at the uses for the energizing orb, you're going to see this is 1-to-1. 1 input, 1 output, 1 input, 1 output, 1 input, or this is 2 input, but this is 1, 1, 1, 1. Like you can see here, that these recipes are generally 1-to-1. Again, someone like, for example, this recipe was added by Enigmatica and the Enigmatica team. So had this recipe not been added, this wouldn't show up. But, you kind of get the gist, right? Most of these are 1-to-1. So that makes the setup a lot easier when you consider it like that. So that gets us 34 energized steel. Let's see what our request or our reward was. We get a battery. Okay, batteries are cool for charging. Obviously, you can charge them up in here. This is sort of 4 million FE per tick. And we may end up using this because it seems to be a curio. I had a plan for getting into something today, so that could be very useful. Anyways, our Magnemators need updating. So let's take these. Oh, let's update them. So we are going to need the hardened tier. So this is going to require some of these chunky capacitors, as I like to call them. And that gets us enough to do what we need. That gets us our craft, essentially. That gets us our hardened tier. Perfect. We put these down, and now we're going to start producing our 180 FE per tick. So now we essentially massively increased our forge throughput. This will be very useful as we proceed to do a lot of these crazy fast machines. So, keeping this in mind, let's look into doing one last automated set. Let's grab some blaze rods. I actually don't have that many. All right, well, we may need to farm some blaze rods some other time. Anyways, I think that's enough for power for now. I was thinking about getting into the next tier, but I think we're going to be okay. This does seem to be producing a significant amount of energy for us at our current technological tier, and I don't think I want to proceed down this train too much further, just because it is pretty easy, and so I'd like to look into some more creative sources of energy, or at least some different ones. They may not have to be very simple or very complicated, but I'd like to definitely spread out a little bit and not just keep with all one system for the time being. But this battery here has given me an idea. We do need... I feel like it would be helpful to upgrade this to the blazing tier at the very least. So I'm thinking about this, and if we were to do this, we would need... Oh, we get 2 from that, so we would need 9 blazing crystals, which is 9 blaze rods. I think that would be just fine to do. So let's grab that. This guy can be accelerated, which is very helpful, because you can see at 256x, it's still very slow. That gets us a quest reward as well. Maybe we'll get... Nope, we just got more energized steel. How very uninteresting. Well, we can use all this energizing steel to, Oh, this isn't actually all that slow. Why don't we use our energized steel to craft up these guys to their next tier? So the next tier for these guys is hardened, as you probably guessed. So we're going to need a lot of these. We're going to need 8. I think we already had some. We're going to need to upgrade our cables as well. So to do the cable upgrade, we can do... I'm going to go with the recipe that upgrades our existing cables. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. This one. And now we will need... Oh, we actually do need to do this recipe one more time. Now we can do 8. Oh, we actually need 16 folks. We'll make a couple more of these. And that will get us the required hardened capacitors. And so as we upgrade these energizing rods, these are what's going to fundamentally improve the speed at which we manage to do our crafting in the power energizing orb. So now that we've upgraded those, you'll see that we're going to shoot through these percentages much quicker. I'm going to go ahead and craft up what I need here to get as far as I need to get, and then I think we'll be ready to continue. And this is our last one. Bingo. Cool. Okay, so to upgrade this to the blazing tier, right, we're going to need this recipe twice. And now we're going to want this guy in there. None of the power seems to transfer over, which is a huge bummer. But this is a curio, so that means I can put it in any of these slots. And it's going to basically provide me with power, if I understand correctly at least. Especially if I shift right-click. So I'm going to go ahead and toss this guy in here. It stores 10 million, you store 10 million. So we're going to run out of all of our power just trying to fill this guy up some. And so I don't want to get too close. I may pull it out here and let you regenerate some while I work on what I want to get into. So you've probably noticed I've been slowly but surely kind of poking my way through our tools. We've got netherite tools now, and sometimes they're perfect and sometimes they're kind of annoying. You saw earlier I accidentally had it in silk touch mode because I needed fortune because I needed silk touch earlier, and then I didn't need it anymore and I moved over to fortune, and then I didn't silk touch my glass. I fortuned it. That was a pain, right? So I'm going to get into a mod that I've never done before. I've never covered it. I have tried it a little bit, but I wasn't a huge fan of it last time I tried it, but I want to try something different, so I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully it turns out, I think it will. I know everyone seems to like it, and that's mining gadgets. So we're going to want to get started with our Mark 1 mining gadget. Ideally, we'll get all the way up to maybe Mark 2 or even Mark 3. Let's see, what's it take to get to Mark 3? Not a whole lot, actually. So we may want to just jump right into Mark 3. Why don't we look at that? So we're going to want one of these, which is a blank upgrade module, and then I think we have literally everything else to go all the way into Mark 3. Now, this is the Mark 3 mining gadget. You see, if I shift right-click, it has this user interface, and you can see if I look at a block, it has what appears to be some sort of a laser thing, and you can hear sound when I right-click on it, but it's not doing anything. So the reason is because it's dead. It needs power. This guy, if I put you in charging mode and then put you in my curio slot, you'll see now it's charged, and if I right-click, it destroys the block. And if I keep moving, it'll continue to destroy the blocks. Isn't that really cool? I've always thought these were really cool. So what I can do is I can do a lot of things, actually. I can edit the visuals. I can change if they fade or shrink. I can change my beam color, and I am going to do exactly that. I'm going to go with a sort of teal with a white beam on the inside. And so now you can see that that has applied. And again, these ranges and all these things are completely modular, so we can kind of hop into maybe a modification table, for example. So let's get, looks like we're going to need a lot of these. Let's grab like maybe 7 or 8 of these. Grab a modification table. Let's put it over here. Looks like our quest was completed for that as well. This is under the tools and armor section. Let's grab that. So we get a bunch of junk and then a light placer. The light placer is incredible. So we're going to toss this guy in our little modification table. You see it shows up on the table. And I just drop this in. Now I have that modification. If I sneak right click, I can turn these modifications and toggles on and off. I can also toggle the volume that it makes. I'll probably drop it down to maybe 20%. Precision mode, basically, if I just sat here and right-clicked and held down right-click, you see it's going to keep on mining until I stop right-clicking. If I put it into precision mode, if I hold down right-click, it'll only continue each time I hold down right-click for one whole block. And basically, it's a one block at a time mode, because these guys can get insanely fast. And that can be a bad thing if you're trying to just make a slight modification to your house. So, let's see what the quest thinks I should do next. That's the efficiency of the fortune. Fortune tier is probably the one we're going to want to go for first. And the silk touch probably as well. Unfortunately, they're related, but that's fine. I would say we would probably want to keep our Fortune 6 from early game, but honestly, at this point, I disagree. I think we're at a point that we don't need this anymore. We are doing so incredibly well that I can't fathom us needing a lot of these things. So I'm going to put them away. I'm going to put them away and say we're done here. So Fortune Tier 3 is going to require Fortune Tier 2, which is Fortune Tier 1. All these seem pretty easy. There we go. And Silk Touch is always my preferred one. And, believe it or not, you can have them both. This is where it gets really cool. I can choose which one is on. I'm actually going to keep Silk Touch on because I prefer it. And so now if I break this window, shoot, I got it. Right? Easy enough. I'm going to take a look at this. Oh, we got the magnet upgrade. Perfect. I was actually about to make one. Got Miner's Delight over here. We've got this terracotta. Now let's take a look at this magnet upgrade. Ooh, nope. Whoops. Let's take a look at this magnet upgrade. The magnet upgrade is really neat. So if I right-click to break a block, it's going to get sucked into my drill laser. So you see how there's that cool little particle? It's going straight to my inventory. It's not even like it's dropping. It just absorbs the drop into my inventory, essentially. Now, it looks like we did get some good stuff, so I am going to go and process it. I think what I will do... I'll take this guy out. I do think emerald is something that we tend to need a lot of. Like, we're good on diamonds. If we take a look right now, we're doing great on diamonds. Emerald, we're doing okay on, but we could use more. So I'm going to grab my fortune pick here. I'll probably still keep it around just in case I need it on occasion. I can't think of all that many options and opportunities, but there probably are at least a few. And I'm going to break down a lot of these resources. 52, not bad. Anyways, let's take everything else over here. Actually, what am I doing? We had automated ore processing over here that I never finished setting up. Let's do that. Chest. We have diamond chests. Let's take these two, put them here and here. Actually, we're going to need to... This is like the one pain about this, but I don't know that there's really a workaround. Is that they don't work how you would want them to as far as that goes. Anyways, let's get a hopper. And put this here, because these do not auto-input. And so if I tell you, side config, let's reset everything. Input and output, we want you to auto-eject, and then we're going to tell you input and output push. If I were to go through here and give you all of these things, it's just going to process them for us. Easy as that. And you can see it's doubling every single time, and then proceeding to smelt them, and just going right here into this chest. So we are ore doubling. We could ore triple and ore quadruple later down the road. I just don't think it's necessary. And if I put anything in here that can't be smelted, it just won't try. So there you go. All in one solution. Just like that. So looking back over at the mining laser, let's see what else they suggest that I look into. An efficiency tier 5, that probably would be helpful, and then a battery upgrade. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at these. So the battery upgrade looks to be mostly quartz, which is totally fine. And then the efficiency is just redstone. Just like that. Mostly doing this for the quests. So, if we were to come over here and toss these two, now you're going to see that the battery in the buffer is going to be significantly larger. It's now a 10 million buffer, so we have a 20 million power buffer on us at all times, essentially. Now we can charge both of these in here, and that'll help us out a lot. I don't want the entire system to die, so maybe we won't go too ham. We could always do this. Just leave this guy in here for now. We do have some solutions for wireless charging as well. Just thought I'd let you know. We got some reinforced chests from Enigmatica. No one really uses those, I don't think, but... yeah. Anyways. And I wanted to show you the mining gadget, but I also wanted to take a look at the radius. There's a radius upgrade. So if we look at mining, I would like range increase, and I would like 3x3 radius. So this guy is not too terribly difficult. We'll do this, and we will do this. I'm thinking probably just tier 2. I don't want to kill all my diamond resources on this. I think I'm fine with just a range upgrade tier 2. And now if I shift right click, we're going to have size 1x1 or 3x3. And my range went from 5 all the way up to 15, so I can break blocks all the way across the room. That's why I was like, I don't think I really need it to be all that insane. So let's go give this a try down in the mines, because this is where it gets really cool. I actually forgot, where am I? I don't really have a mine shaft. I've just been spelunking over and over and over. I mean, I do have that one, so let's go give that one a try, I suppose. We could also just go to the ancient debris mining section. This would be fine. So if I come here and do 3x3 with a range of 15, turn precision mode off, and we'll do silk touch enable, true, efficiency tier 5 upgrade, true. This is just going to go, and you can see exactly why the light upgrade is helpful. Well, there is probably ancient debris in here. Can I mine ancient debris? I don't even know if I can mine ancient debris with this. Anyways, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can. Okay, good. I figured. But essentially, you can see it's going to suck all of the drops in right into our inventory, which is super great. I don't really know why I was doing that. And you can see it's going to put down these little light blocks, these miner's light, anytime you mine somewhere where it's too dark. Or at least dark enough to be a concern. So you can see already this has made to be a much more successful mining project than we ever had beforehand. Sorry, this is pretty mesmerizing. You can also see we're not actually using all that much. Like, if you think about how many blocks we've broken around here, we are not using that much durability, or that much energy, rather, but still. But yeah, all in all, I am very happy with this. I'm having a lot of better luck than I did last time around. I think I understand it a little better. Again, it is different to use. You can see, like like I mentioned before, the chests do definitely not like to be broken using the mining gadget, and that's fine. There may be a config for that to help me actually do that in the end anyways. I'm not sure. I don't want to force it. I definitely don't want to break anything, you know? But yeah, overall, that's been a very successful episode. I think we've gotten a whole lot done between getting into our first machines, upgrading our existing little machines down here, and then even getting into some whole new tools. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I believe I'll see you in the next one.